Oh my gosh. So, I was at the supermarket a couple days ago and I was like, oh, I saw this label like, oh, no GMO, no GMO, no GMO, no GMO. I was like, oh, GMO, GMO. I don't know. And then I thought, thinking to myself, I was like, wait a second. I don't know. Are GMOs bad? What's up, everybody watching Wellness Week Live? I am your host, DJ Tony. I am not a DR. I'm a DJ. But this man right here has a PhD in biochem. He's a resident PhD. I'm the DJ. Wellness Week. How's it going, everybody? Magnus, how are you?
I'm good, my man. How are you doing,
Good,
Anthony?
bro. It's funny. So yeah, I was at the supermarket, and you hear this so many years now. No GMO, no GMO, no GMO, no GMO. Now, for people who don't know, I mean, I know you know this, Magnus, but people might not know this. GMO stands for genetically modified organism, and it
Yep.
sounds like really bad. Like, oh my god, it's gonna. But all right, you tell me, Magnus. I mean, you got the background in science and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's funny. Well, first off, about 80% of the American food that we eat is genetically modified. And I would say, fear not, ladies and gentlemen, because the ancient Aztecs from Mexico and South America were genetically modifying corn, maize for 4,000 years.
Yep.
So, I'm almost, I shouldn't be angry because here we go. In my opinion, it's big agra and people who want to sell stuff that make this straw man argument like it's no GMOs, and or like when people sell cotton candy, it's like cotton candy. It has cotton candy is what you call it? It has what the hell's that called? People have the balls to put this on some cotton candy. It says cotton candy, not GMO. It'll say like
Gluten free.
yes, gluten free.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like,
sugar.
wow, really? And so that's what GMO is nowadays. GMO is that.
Yeah.
No GMO. It's a nothing argument. It's bullshit. GMO, like Mother Nature genetically modifies itself, literally. So it's so disingenuous. Go ahead.
So I think that why people freak out is what GMO is specifically, that we have gone in and basically modified the genes from us with a scientific way, that we actually go in and splice off a gene.
Okay, so what?
Put something in. The thing is that when it comes down to it, just like you said, with corn and apples and a lot of the fruits that we eat and vegetables we eat today have been selective. So their genes have been selective. So same thing with dogs and everything like that, breeding horses, exactly the same thing when you're breeding vegetables and fruits and things like that. You take a good plant here, another good plant there, you merge them together, and you get something that actually creates even probably better food, right, better tasting fat,
more resistant to bugs or whatever, right?
Exactly. Now, like, you see that you actually like gene modify, like cross genes. So you're actually taking genes from another species and put them in, and all of a sudden people freak out. Just like you said, basically we've been eating modified food for thousands and thousands of years. And
right.
And one thing that I should point out too is that gene modified organisms, or like GMOs, that could actually help us, the human race, with like eradicating starvation.
Well, that's CRISPR and things like that with human bodies, you're saying, but you're saying about
food. No. With the GMO, with the food, that we actually can create more food, and we can actually, with soils that might not produce a lot of food, can actually produce food with gene modified
out of the
organisms.
Shittiest soil, right? Well, but that's what the Aztecs were doing, that without a microscope. They knew better, like, oh, this corn and this corn will mix the seeds or whatever. Yep. Now everyone freaks out because now it's done with a microscope, but somehow that's bad. But when the Aztecs did it, that was good. You're still modifying. It's so asinine, so disingenuous, and shame on big agra and these companies that try to act like, oh, it's so wholesome. By the way, folks, there is none, and I mean none. There is not that I know of, and I like to read. There's no medical study, no factual, peer-reviewed medical study done that has said GMOs are dangerous. Zero, none. And viewers, if you have one, let me see it, because I've never found one.
Yep.
Now there's assumptions in the word may and maybe. A lot of things may be. The mice and this, that's a maybe. That's not a factual, 100%. So it's just so,
But that's the same thing with science as a whole. Like you can you can always twist and turn it into whatever you want it to say, right? And the thing is, like you pointed out, there has not been a study as of yet to find anything negative about it, like that it actually affects us, our health. Certain things that I like that is heavily modified, for instance, corn and soy, are two foods that I don't eat much of to start out with. And
Well,
that's more,
yeah, me neither.
and that's more because it's poor nutrition value.
Right.
And that has nothing to do if it has been gene modified or not. It's just that it's not something that I eat much of, because it doesn't give me much like nutrition or health from it. So that's why I stay away from it. Not that they've been gene modified.
Right. But by the way, I mean, and some people might say this though. Oh, but with the pesticides that are sprayed, herbicides that are sprayed on these crops, that modifies them. That's why No. Pesticides are bad. That's a separate issue from gene modification. Then now there might be some parallels, but it's not. That's not gene modification, although it may modify a gene as a subsequent ancillary effect, but that's not herbicides and chemicals. It's a separate issue. You can still modify without herbicides. And so my thing is, a modification of the genome is not a bad thing. By the way, I'd make an argument it's a good thing, because we know any organism that does whatever, cross-pollinate or has mixed genes, tends to be stronger because you wash the negatives out of it. So if you have like purebred dogs, okay, like they tend to be less healthy than a mixed breed dog. So if you have a Labradoodle, that's going to typically be a healthier dog than just a Labrador. And any organism, I don't care if it's an ant or a beaver or a whatever, when you start to cross, actually it strengthens it. It becomes better. Anyways, but so the GMO thing is just, another sales pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when we're talking about like other buzzwords like organic or natural. Like, first of all, when you say organic pesticides, some of the organic pesticides are way worse for our health than the so-called like hardcore chemical or like that. And then another thing when it comes to natural, I mean, I know a lot of things that are natural that are highly toxic. Arsenic, for instance.
That's in rice. That's in rice.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Highly toxic. It's the same thing. Plutonium, another natural thing. Highly toxic because it's radioactive. So we always have to kind of,
just because something's natural doesn't mean it's going to be healthy. Correct.
Exactly. And that's the thing, that education is more important, because then you can actually make a decision yourself.
Right.
And again, like people that say, oh, I've done my research. No, you like reading on the internet on some kind of web page that might be sponsored or might have an agenda.
Right.
That is not research. Again, that is just basically reading and gathering information. Research is actually when you're doing, like, you're setting up a scientific model and following that. That's more research. So I'm not trying to bash people saying that I've done my research. It's fine, and I think it's good that people read and trying to learn more things, but getting your information from a single source with one cross-reference, one view. Yes, you have to cross-reference and get a better understanding.
Right. Yeah, by the way, and we're not saying that pesticides are good. Pesticides are bad, but to say something is natural too, you got to be careful with that, like you said.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, so that's that. I mean, like, I don't give a shit. I will eat GMO all day long.
What is it percentage-wise? It's in crazy amount of basically
80% of the American food.
Yeah,
American crop,
at least. And like looking at it, and also like the consumption. If you're looking at it, a lot of fast foods and pre-made, it contains a lot of gene modified ingredients.
Right.
So like people and again, I don't really understand that, like going completely overboard and saying that you can't eat any gene modified products. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's okay. That's your view. Like, fine. Again, we don't have to try to sell it to every other person in the world, but it's up. I think again, it's up to each and every individual. I mean, there's certain things that I don't eat, but I'm not trying to tell everybody that my way is the best or everybody else is wrong.
Yeah.
Individual level.
Yeah, I would. If anything, I would go for look for organic. Again, stay away from processed foods. You know, you don't want to have apple juice or apple chips. You want to have the apple. Forget about GMO, but just basic common sense like that. You know,
closer to what you've closer to what you actually find out in nature, how it looks like in nature. So
right.
Like an apple is a whole apple and not like apple soda or whatever.
Right.
So completely right.
100%. All right, man. So let's move on to the second topic of our show. So sleep. Now I know I think a lot of us we poo-poo sleep. You have assholes out there that, excuse my French, that are like, hey, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Oh, you'll be dead soon then. Don't worry about it. Like, we so underestimate the power of sleep. And there's a famous cardiologist out there, and he said, if you have a choice between an extra hour in the gym or extra hour of sleep, always pick the extra hour of sleep. Your body needs that reset. That's where you fight. That's where your immune system gets boosted and recharged and muscles grow. And all that stuff. Anyway, so a friend of mine was saying, I can't get sleep recently, And anyways, I was just like, well, I can only guess what this guy's doing. But so Magnus, for you, I mean, what are some of your tips that you do to get a good night's sleep?
So first of all, I'm gonna point out one of the a really good source when talking about sleep. It's a professor. He's called Andrew Huberman. He has a Huberman Lab, a really good webpage. He has a podcast and everything, and he goes into details about how to improve sleep. What are the things that you should do naturally and things like that. So I actually have the webpage in front of me. So we're talking about best nootropic, sleep, best stress reliever, sleep, best trauma release, sleep, best immune booster, sleep, best hormone augmentation, sleep, best emotional stabilizer, sleep. So again, like how many things of that is like sleep? Sleep is important for everything regarding health.
But here's the problem, and I agree with you. I think many people would, but I guess my friend's problem was, well, I can't get to sleep. I can't stay asleep. So my thing was, okay, so my quick 3 tips out of my head, I would say, number one, if you're going to go to sleep, go to fuck to sleep. Black the room out. You can't be looking at your phone, watching television, talking on the phone in your bedroom. The bedroom is for sleep. So black out the shades, no television, no cell phone. If you're going to do that, get up and go to the living room. That's, I would say, number one. Number two, I would say, don't drink a lot before you go to bed because you're going to be pissing yourself all night getting up. So I try to stop drinking about 4 hours prior to sleep. And then my third thing, my third thing would be, and folks, you can read between the lines on this one, but if you can, you want to try to get a little romance. You know what I'm saying? That type will help you to fall asleep because it releases endorphins, it relaxes you. So those are the top 3. Anyways, for me, I have other ones, but Magnus, what would you say helps you to fall asleep or stay asleep?
So I will start in the morning. So first of all, try to get up at the same time and go to sleep at the same time every single day, including the weekends. So don't try to shift back and forth, like staying up half the night during the weekends, and then try to think that you're going to be feeling good Monday morning when you wake up. No, you're going to feel like you're basically jet lagged. You basically are jet lagged. So get up, and usually as soon as possible, try to go out for a walk, try to get sun exposure if that is possible. If you're living in a warmer climate, like shed as much clothing as you legally can. And don't wear hats and sunglasses or things like that. Expose yourself to sunlight. I would say on a sunny day, about 10 minutes up, and then like on a overcast day, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. On a really bad day, you can go up to 30 to 60 minutes. So that's one thing that you should do. And then coffee, at least 10 hours, stop drinking coffee at least 10 hours before going to bed. Sometimes some people need to go even, we're talking about maybe 12 to 16 hours. So you basically can have a cup of coffee in the morning and that's it for the rest of the day. Try to avoid bright lights, especially like later on at night. So when the sun starts to go down, you should probably dim your lights inside your house if possible. Not staring into a screen. If you're planning on using a lot of screens, wear blue light blocking glasses or wear blue light blocking glasses anyway when you're around the house. So try to find like more yellow tinted light than bright white and blue lights.
Yeah.
Another thing, like you said, sleep. That's what you have your bedroom. Sleep and romance is basically what you have your bedroom for. And then other than that, just watch TV and everything like that in your living room or TV room or whatever you like.
Yeah.
Then it's natural to kind of have a peak of you feeling like a lot of energy about an hour before you go to bed. That's natural. It's also natural to wake up in the middle of the night and toss and turn a little bit, or maybe you have to go to the bathroom, or maybe just like figuring things out. That's natural. It's just that you need to be able to relax and understand that you will probably fall asleep unless you start stressing out of being awake again.
Yeah.
If you have a hard time falling asleep again, go up, do something, read a book, do something boring, monotone things like maybe start, I wouldn't say working, but something that is not that's too stimulating. You will probably get really bored really quick and want to go to bed.
Right.
Yep. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I think you might have mentioned it, but like trying to get some level of exercise earlier in the day. You don't have to run a marathon, but even if it's just a half-hour walk, you want to help yourself to be tired by the end of the day. I would also say tryptophan, either drinking warm milk or eating turkey, not right before you go to bed, but at some point. Those are chemicals that will lull your body to sleep. I would not watch the news at nighttime.
Nothing stressful.
You're gonna, what it's gonna happen, right? And the world's coming, everyone's dying.
Or watch your sports team lose.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Another thing that usually gets a lot of people rallied up.
Yeah.
Watching politics, watching scary movies, things like that are annoying.
Yeah.
So reading a physical book is probably a better thing.
Tires out.
Start dimming the lights, like I said.
Right.
Bedroom, like you said, it should be cool.
Yeah.
Close to, I think it's like 60. Usually the best one is between 62 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's, I think it's like 16, 17 degrees Celsius.
Right.
Completely blacked out, no electric lights or anything like in there. Try to avoid to have like TV, computers, screens, anything in your bedroom. Remove that.
Yeah.
Other things that are good. Magnesium is good.
Yep.
Actually eating some sorts of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is usually something that tires us out. So if you have a little bit of a problem, eat some carbohydrates just before bed or a couple of hours before bed. Not eating too close into like having a big meal, at least 2 hours if possible before you go to bed. So you're not going to bed with a full stomach. Invest in a good mattress, a good bed frame.
That's what I was going to say. You want a good bed.
And also great pillows that works for you.
Yep. I listen to classical music actually with Amazon. I'll say Alexa, play me classical music for sleep, and I'll play it low.
Yes. Another thing that you can do too is listen to binary beats. It's actually work with brainwaves. So you have basically a headphone on, and then you can use that. Make sure that your room is as quiet as possible. And if you living in a house, try to stay away from like maybe the front side of the house where there might be traffic and things like that. So try to move as far away from basically other people that goes around and do things. There's a bunch of different supplements that I could recommend, but it's magnesium is one.
I take by the way, I usually take a hot shower before I go to bed. That kind of cools, that kind of calms me.
That might be right, but actually, I'm going to tell you one thing. A cold shower is actually better, and here's why. Yes, you might actually like first a burst of energy, but since you're lowering your core temperature with a cold shower, you actually fall asleep quicker because before bed, your body naturally starts to lower the temperature. So try that if you want to. I mean, it might sound crazy, but a cold shower actually, like, it's the same thing when you've been out in the ocean and swimming. It's cooler water, or in a cool pool and you're swimming around. You actually feel quite tired afterwards. That's because your core temperature has actually been reduced. So you're actually you're about to fall to sleep better. Yeah, no, those are something. I mean, we could talk about this, and I think that we should revisit this often,
Oh, yeah.
and talk about sleep, because sleep is still so overlooked.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, the hustle mentality about, oh, I'll sleep later on. I sleep when I'm dead. So on.
Yeah.
It's
You need about 8 hours, folks.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. That's the thing though. Like, people have a tendency to look at the extreme outliers. You have people like former presidents, like actors like The Rock, or even some athletes. But most athletes understand the importance of sleep, so they're like, well, I'm trying to sleep as much as possible. Baby, that's something. Naps. Let's talk about naps. Naps could actually be good, but you should keep them too short. I would suggest to keep them like under 30 minutes at the most. And I don't think that most people shouldn't nap too much if possible, because that could disturb their sleep too. If you're used to napping, it's perfectly fine. I think napping is actually another thing that could help both your health, and looking at a lot of endocrine, like looking at your hormone levels and things like that. Naps actually helps with that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
that's
we know
another
that
thing.
if you're sleeping well, you have lower chances of mental issues, anxiety, stress, depression. When you get better sleep, people are usually healthier when they sleep better. Again,
Yep.
about 8 hours a day. So it
Yep.
really matters, folks.
Yeah.
But
The Goldilocks zone, the low Goldilocks zone is basically between 7 and 9 hours per night. That's usually that. If you sleep less, it affects your health negatively. If you sleep more, it also affects your health negatively. So finding that seven
I get about
to
8 per night. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get at least 8 hours of sleep per night. So or yeah, I when I have a lot of things to do, at least 7. So that's kind of my minimum. And then it starts to affect me negatively.
All good stuff.
Yeah, and again, like the listeners and viewers, please actually tell us what your like tricks are to fall asleep, if you have some. We always interesting to know like what people are doing. We might have missed something, and we want to talk more about it too. So
absolutely, yep. And don't forget to share with somebody you love or hate. You know what I mean? We got to get our numbers up. We're climbing, baby. But yeah, Magnus, as always, thank you. So check us out. We got a lot of great shows coming up again and again and again, baby. A lot of great content. So thank you, Magnus.
Anthony.
Hey man, I'll see you guys. I'm signing us out in 5, 4, 3, 2.